Well, hello there again. This video is a little later than I wanted it to be, but you know, weather and life stuff and whatnot. Anyway, I wanted to talk about beat 'em ups a little bit for this video. I'm going to hazard a guess just based on my audience and then also just what I see as far as people talking about video games on YouTube that I've probably got a good like 10 plus years on most of the people that'll be engaging with this video. Uh, so I can actually say that I was there in the arcade when the beat 'em up was new. I was there when Double Dragon came out, and I was there when Final Fight came out, and I was there during the 16-bit wars where it was Streets of Rage versus Final Fight. And I'll be honest with you, I got really burnt out and bored of the beat 'em up genre in the 90s. When fighting games kind of came out and took that spot, it was a breath of fresh air because I wanted more from those games and they just all felt the same. And I find it interesting. The genre largely went away for a really long time, and it's come back in a pretty big way in the last like 8 or 9 years, I'd say. And I find it infuriating that by and large, the people that are making modern beat 'em ups are just trying to hit those same old notes, and they haven't really done much in general to move the genre forward. Uh, and then along came, well, I guess I should say before I get to like the meat of the topic, uh, just for frame of reference, when Streets of Rage 4 came out, I thought it was fine. I thought it played way too slow, and again, I didn't really feel that it did much at launch to really move things along. I understand that they've added a ton of DLC since then, and one of these days maybe I'll go back and check it out, but just to see what they've done with it since it originally came out. I enjoyed like the Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge game that came out a few years ago, but again, didn't really do much new. It was just kind of another one of those. Uh, Ditto with the recent Marvel Cosmic Invasion, where I do think that the move set is pretty good on those characters. It's very much it's way more an homage to like the Marvel versus Capcom versions of those characters than uh, the old beat 'em up styles of them. Uh, but I wanted more. Honestly, like I think to date my favorite like modern beat 'em up, and it's like over 20 years old at this point, is Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks on the PlayStation 2. I think that did a lot of really awesome new things in the genre that I really wish had carried forward. Then we get to Absolum, which came out last year, which is a fusion of the beat 'em up with a run-based RPG. And it's awesome. I I had bought it on PC when it came out, and I played it a little bit on my Steam Deck, and I was like, "This is good." And then I found out that it was on console, and I was like, "Oh man, I really wish that I had played this on console instead because it just feels more like a console game." And after we did our Game of the Year stuff for the podcast, I wanted to go back to Absalom, but I double dipped and I bought it on PlayStation 5. And man, that game does so many things that I've been clamoring for with the beat 'em up genre. The RPG stuff is what it is, right? Certainly it's not the first game to merge RPG mechanics with the beat 'em up. I mean, that goes all the way back to like the original run of this stuff, and even stuff like Guardian Heroes or the Dungeons and Dragons Capcom games, right? So that's all fine and good, but I think it's a few things. It's the the run-based nature lends itself really well to this type of game because if you really think about a beat 'em up, and I think it was really laid bare once like a lot of these compilations started coming out from like Capcom and other places where once you have unlimited continues, you can really see how bullshit these games were in the arcade, where they were just designed to take your money as quickly as possible, but the games themselves are like actually like half an hour to 40 minutes long, if that. It's just the difficulty levels would be tweaked so to a certain degree where you'd have to pour in a lot of money to see those final levels or whatever. Um, and so here it's like your average run, especially when you start, it's probably going to be about half an hour. And even like a full run of Absalom, once you know what you're doing and you've got like the move set down and you've done some upgrades and stuff like that, uh, it's going to take you about 40 to 60 minutes to do a full run, like beginning to final boss on Absolum. Uh, and that's a really good sweet spot. It's a perfect game for I've got a lunch break, or I'm waiting for like a food delivery or something like that, or I'm waiting for a friend to come over, and I'll just play some Absolum, right? Even if you don't make it through the whole run, like you're still getting stuff towards forward progression. Um, it also just feels really damn good to play. The controls are just really precise. It took me a bit to get to grips with the parry because it's a you dash forward to do a parry and you have like iframes during the very beginning of that dash startup, and you kind of have to anticipate moves a little bit. And I think just in my head, the idea of moving forward to block, that's a big problem for me. It's the reason why I can't parry on Street Fighter 3 or 6, because I'm like, no, you hold back to block. You don't press forward to block. That's not how that works. It's not how any of this works. Uh but once I got to grips with that, and then also it took me like way too long, because I think in the tutorial they tell you to double tap up or double tap down to dodge, but you can also just like press the dodge button and then up or down. And that was like kind of a game changer for me, where the dodge was not very effective for me during most of my runs. And then once that locked in, it like opened up like a whole new level of strategy. And I think that's one of the things I love about Absalom is the longer you play it, the deeper the mechanics reveal themselves to be, and the more you can open it up, and the more shit that you can do. And that's not even talking about the builds where you get like these different rituals that you can add, very very Hades style, to kind of supplement a play style. And it's one of those things where it's random what the selections are going to be, so you kind of have to take what you get and then start to build your run around that. And then depending on like the armor, like the gear that you get, also like that'll affect things. I think my one of my only gripes is that sometimes it feels that the runs don't actually provide you with a lot in terms of a build, where I've gotten through runs where it's like, oh, I've only got two rituals and the rest is just gear, and that feels like really like out of balance. Like there'd be times where it's like, oh, I'm only getting crystals or I'm only getting gold, and that feels weird. I also really I hope that this game does well enough to where they add content to it, because I I I finished it, and then I finished it, right? Because it's like Hades, where it's like you finish it, you see credits, and then it's like, oh, but there's more to do. And then I did what was more to do, and then proceeded to get the platinum, and then started a new save file to see how much better I could do just skill wise on like a brand new file. And I did a hell of a lot better. Still not as good as I would have liked to, but I think with a little bit more practice, I could probably end up getting to like probably the last boss on a new character, like a fresh file on a first attempt, because it is very very skill based. And once you really like lock in on the stuff that you can do, uh you're kind of unstoppable, uh depending on how the run goes, because there are some enemies that are just like kind of bullshit to deal with and stuff like that. And if you're not getting very good rituals or gear on a run, then that can also affect things, or if you're not getting very many health drops. But I'm hoping that they get to add more to it because it's like a unicorn overlord situation for me where I did everything in the game and I want more. And it already has a lot. I love the fact that there's like multiple paths through each run and there's different events that happen and there's a lot of secrets in the game that kind of takes me back to like old arcade days and stuff like that where I looked up a thing just on random and I was like, I would never have known how to spawn that boss from like that way, and it was like a cool fight that I didn't even know was in the game, and I did it, and that was really neat. Um, and I'm hoping that they add like more characters as well because the two main characters are great, and then there's two other characters that you can unlock, but they don't really they feel like they're separate from the rest of the game because they don't have like their own like character quests, and I also don't think they're as good as the other two characters. And I'd really like to see them add like at least two more characters. Usually in a game like this, I felt the same way with like Diablo 4 where I felt that I just needed like one or two more classes at launch because it just didn't feel very robust to me. I think this game would be really cool if there was like a grappler and then like maybe either a tanky type character or like a healer type character. I think that would be a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, great animation, great just moment to moment gameplay feel, and wonderful music. Just a hell of a lot of fun to play. Cannot recommend it enough. If you haven't played Absolum yet, go check it out. I think there's a demo for it around there, but if not, it's highly worth it. If you like a beat 'em up and you like me have wanted something a little bit deeper from them, this is that game. So yeah, check it out. Thanks for letting me yap at you, and I'll see you on the next one.